swear you ain't seen nothing yet. So I went down to the water and found my face.
Hey yo, it's the Autistic Dudestic back again. And this week, I wanted to bring up something that I keep seeing on social media and just put my take on it all. And that's the narration around the autism diagnosis and the different phrasing that different groups use. You see, on one side, there is autism is a disability that people suffer from. Ooh, scary, right?
Woo, spooky.
And on the other side of the pendulum is autism is a superpower. They think in such creative ways that we could just never imagine. It's truly a gift. You know, the sugar-coated toxic positivity that acts like autism is all sunshine and rainbows.
Bright and shiny. Bright and shiny. People of
Well, let me give you my stance and 3 cents on the topic. I know. Inflation is getting out of control, right? Okay, first things first. Autism is truly a spectrum. It covers so many interwoven traits that people hold and how their brains work and the way they see the world around them. Everyone on it can have different qualities to their personality, different special interests, different triggers, and even a different severity of the same features and behaviors. Two people could express something that is tied to autism, like sound sensitivity, and could mean two totally different things regarding it.
We are really different.
So different.
Completely.
So, what are some of the gifts that can come with autism? Well, there's enhanced pattern recognition skills, lasered in attention to detail, incredible long-term memory, innovative thinking, thriving with routine and mundane tasks, and some of the most unbridled honesty and loyalty you'll ever witness, whether you're ready for it or not. Awesome sauce, right? I know what you're thinking. That sounds great. Where do I sign up for that? Whoa. Let's just slow that down and take a minute to read the fine print on the superhero contract. Shall we?
I didn't want to read the contract.
What are the side effects listed here? Well, the glaring one that stands out, your social skills, well, they're not going to be great. The social anxiety is going to be high, while your brain is getting hung up and fixated on the wrong details in the conversation. Your social awareness, throw that out the window. You can obsess and focus on something so much, it becomes out of balance and becomes a negative force. Terrible executive functioning skill with an inability to deal with choices or just make plans for the future. But changes and disruptions of plans you do manage to just piece together, it can absolutely tear you apart. Having sensory issues that can make sounds quite annoying or downright crippling. Or a very picky diet that can leave your spouse frustrated for just eating the same meal on repeat. sleep problems, social isolation, increased chance for severe depression, PTSD, and thoughts of self-harm. I think you get my point. Because that isn't covering all of the traits underneath the autism umbrella on the positive or negative side. Two things can be real.
Lisa, lots of times, two incompatible things can both be true.
And remember, it is a spectrum. So that doesn't mean one person will identify with all of the traits underneath that autism umbrella on either side. It's more like some mystical being just threw a couple darts at a wheel, which decided on which powers our superhero spectrum dweller would get. Also, that just because two people identify with the same trait, it may not affect both in the same way. The severity of the experience may differ from one person to the next. So let's go back to the sound sensitivity example. While one person could get really annoyed at the fluorescent light just humming right over you, or frustrated at that GPS voice just telling you direction turn by turn. Another person, however, could be absolutely leveled by just the sound of whistling. I mean, a full-on meltdown and completely dysregulated. You see, both people can identify with having sound sensitivity, yet have vastly different experiences and reactions. So you can have autism and you can be a superhero. But I must be very clear. A superhero doesn't mean just flying around and kissing babies. Well, you may have some powers. Those powers come with a kryptonite, a yin to the yang, if you will. You see, you can't have one without the other. And that's the unique part of existence as a whole. Everything is about balance. Two things can be real. All you can do is try to work with the negatives and not against them. Take on those curses and learn how to adapt, while also using whatever strengths you have in your toolbox to do some super cool things on this giant rock hurtling through vast amounts of infinite space we all call Earth. And be the true superhero that you are.
Forget everything you think you know. Whatever lessons you learned in school, whatever your parents taught you, none of that matters. You're not kids anymore. You're not students. You're X-Men.
One thing about me, I absolutely love the X-Men, and I always have. There are so many lessons to learn throughout the X-Men and their countless stories. So many different characters, all with different powers and personalities. They all go through different hardships through their character development. Watching that 90s X-Men cartoon as a kid, I was drawn to it, like a moth to the flame.
Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down.
Fun facts. Stan Lee created X-Men because he got tired of always writing backstories for superheroes on how they got their powers, like they were bitten by some radioactive spider. Instead, they were just born like that. It's the X gene, which could result in so many different powers. And I love that's where he landed, to just create more superheroes. It's just in your DNA, and everyone comes out differently and with their own curses.
Sounds familiar.
Also, Charles Xavier and Magneto were both somewhat based off of civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Both characters want mutant rights, but have different methods of how they think they should get there. It's based off of minorities who are struggling to find a voice, that have to mask just to exist in the world. And just the experience of being ostracized from the community because of who you are. The more I learned about the history of the X-Men as I got older, the more I understood the themes that Stan Lee was just writing about and trying to teach. And I want to say I don't want to take anything away from the original themes of the X-Men, but young Alex was also drawn to it as well for different reasons. I may not have lived the true meaning behind the original writing, but I was being treated differently from a young age. And I was just trying to fit into a society where everyone could tell I was different. Well, everyone but me. And on a wider scope of X-Men, Stan Lee also let others feel attached to these characters. Children that were treated different in so many different ways than what society wanted. So thank you, Stan. Thank you for all of the lessons.
Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window.
And now, back to the X-Men. Each character brought something different to the table, while at the same time all sharing in that unifying X gene that all mutants do. It's something that binds them. So let's take a look at two of the more popular characters from the franchise, Wolverine and Rogue. Wolverine is a character that has enhanced physical capabilities, animal-like senses, and insane regeneration. While that regeneration kept him alive in many battles, it gave him delayed aging, which led to living a long, long life. He still endured all that pain that he would regenerate from, while watching ones close to him pass away while he stayed around. Rogue is a character that can absorb the life force, memories, attributes, and superpowers of anyone she comes into contact with. Her powers are extremely versatile when it comes to adapting to situations, and her ability to truly empathize with anyone is unmatched. Rogue, however, can't truly ever get close to anyone because if she touches anyone for too long, it could be fatal. Not to mention, while taking on years of trauma for a life she never lived. Now let's say we swapped Wolverine and Rogue's powers. Wolverine has grown used to the isolation, and he doesn't need any type of physical connection with another person. He could easily live in the middle of the woods alone and be perfectly content with it. Rogue, however, would take a long lifetime of love and connection, even with the pain that comes with that loss, just to have that connection she so longs for. What might be a curse for one may not be for the other, based on who they are. You see, with autism, it's very similar. It is the spectrum. So many different gifts and abilities, as well as many different curses and severity. How one affects one person can vastly differ to the next.
Unique in all the world.
So what I want to do is encourage you to find what is your superpower And what is your curse? And truly start to divulge into those traits you have and see the strength that you have to change what you want. Are you a Cyclops that has leadership abilities that can rally others to fight for social change, but you can never fully take off that mask? Okay, now go deeper. Cyclops does eventually get to have Jean Grey see him for him, and their son does have Cyclops' eyes. Is the curse not being able to fully take off that mask? Or did his curse lead him to find the love that can use her strength to see him fully? The pain and the mask you carry with you every day could be the way to find the person it's safe to put it down with. Even if you think you'll zap them with your eyeballs.
You can open your eyes, Scott. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's quite...
Are you a Gambit? A person that has gone through multiple tragedies that led you to do anything to survive, which could have been to lie, cheat, and steal. But what happens when you find others like you and you're reformed into an X-Men and now you fight for social change? Does your curse of surviving turn you into becoming the best option to fight for others because you don't want them to go through what you did? Each person has their own superpowers and curses, but I don't want you to get hung up on the curse that you hold, because it could be something you just have to live with, like Rogue. Or it's something that could push you into something greater that is made just for you, like Cyclops. Autism and X-Men, in my mind, have so many similarities. Maybe that's why I started this channel, to become some autistic Professor Xavier, cultivating a group of like-minded people, all with different skill sets and backgrounds. Help educate you about some of your powers and help to show accommodations for how to deal with the curses that may come with it. Does that mean I gotta shave my head now? Who knows? All I know is I'm glad you're here with me through this learning journey, the good and the bad. Because two things can be real, and oftentimes you don't have one without the other.
There's so much more to you than you know. Not just pain and anger. There's good too, I felt it. And when you can access all that, you'll possess a power no one can match. Not even me.
Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, 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 down. Down, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow.
If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and share this to anyone you might think it might be helpful. Also, feel free to join my Discord page, if you so please. I'll leave the link down below in the description. Please come on over if you want to be part of a growing autistic community and chat with the Autistic Dudestic himself, or just anyone else lingering around at that time you might hit it off with. Next week, I'll be talking about the social communication breakdown and some tools to help navigate those tricky situations. So until next time, same dude time, same dude channel. Autistic Dudestic, signing off.